And we're live! Hello, hello, hello! And welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, where we're continuing Sorin's journey. I am in a little bit of pain today, which I think I've narrowed down to starting going back to the gym yesterday. I do not think my upper arms were prepared for that, and they are protesting. So, yeah, today I'm kind of have to just acknowledge there's no way I'm getting through what I want to do before Dawn Trail releases. Especially because I did remember we've got the role quests to do. And I feel the role quests work best in Shadowbringers if you do them... Well, not Shadowbringer, Endwalker. Work best if you actually do them during the MSQ. So we're going to be getting to that. And starting with the Alamigo ones. But first, I do believe we have one main story quest to do. Last time the final days began, Thavnair here being the origin point. And we've been doing what Sorin and the Scions have been doing what they can to try and not stop, but at least reduce the damage. Greetings, honored Scions of the 7th Dawn. I have a message from His Excellency the Satrap. Brave Scions, you have my gratitude for aiding my people in this most trying of times. Alas, matters here at the Megaduta prevent me from meeting you all in person. As a token of mine appreciation, I have arranged for a feast to be held in your honor. May it nourish you in preparation for the trials ahead. Such are the words of Master Vitri. The feast he speaks of awaits you at Meriad's Mayan. Pray make your way there whenever your business here is done. We thank you for your kindness. Indeed. I was hoping we might find a place to discuss our next course of action, and that seems an ideal venue. And to you, Sorin Sherwood. There is someone we had hoped to introduce to you in particular. While I am loath to detain you further, might you spare a moment of your time? Personal invitation. Knowing full well your services are in the highest demand right now? This must be important. Why not? I'll save some food for you, so take all the time you need. Right. Wonder what this is about. Thank you, friend. Whenever you are ready, please join me in the Etheirys Plaza. I shall go on ahead. Right. Who would need to speak to me now? I suppose there's a lot going on, so I don't feel too surprised if someone wants to speak with me, but I can't think who in particular it might... I suppose it's always could always be someone I don't know. Access to the Etheirys you see there has been restricted to a select few ever since the tower first appeared. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience, but it was deemed too dangerous to permit the free movement of visitors at a time of emergency, a risk we could not take. In light of recent developments, however, the Satrap has decided that such restrictions would only hinder our efforts to combat the final days. As such, I would encourage you to attune with the Etheirys before proceeding along the corridor. Of course. I don't think I've been down that path. I'll follow his advice. Being able to travel here quickly again if I need it is probably important. So, where does this lead me? Another Ethernet shard. All of the... This is their base of operations? You must be wondering what this place is. You stand in the Hall of the Radiant Host, from where our leadership oversees all of Razathan's military operations. Sundrop, our destination, lies just ahead. Sundrop? Who is... This is... Welcome to Sundrop. Without further ado, allow me to introduce you to... Oh, so you're the famous Sorin Sherwood, eh? I knew at the moment you stepped through the door. You have the look of one who's walked through hell. Sure, but please, you're speaking to the Satrop's honoured guest and the saviour of our people. Can you not show a modicum of respect? What disrespect is there in paying a fellow warrior a compliment? We're all friends here. Or will be soon enough. More formally then, for the benefit of my countrymen. It is a pleasure to have you with us, O great champion of Eorzea, scion of the Seventh Dawn, warrior of light, and all-around good egg, I'm sure. Pleasure, but I fear you have me at a disadvantage here. A fool with too many scars and knees to ache into winter. Name's Sherebat. I attend to business here. As for what sort of business? How can I put it? Razathan welcomes delegates from other lands to oversee trade and diplomatic dealings. Then there are military matters to discuss, which is why all these officers are stationed here in Sundrop. I imagine you're more than familiar with each of the nations they represent, yes? We've got representatives from Doma, Ul'dah and Alamigo, Limsa, Gridania, and everywhere. At last, but never let it be said least, Ishgard. They're the eyes, ears, and mouths that bridge the distance between Razathan and their respective homelands. We've used this brief respite to share the details of our plight with our overseas counterparts. And wouldn't you know it, all of their leaders requested a few words from you specifically. You're a man in high demand, eh? And so, would you mind regaling us with your own account? Indulge us before you indulge yourself. Right. I'll share what I can. Thank you for the report. Conditions under which men are turned into beasts. The Etheirys anomalies you've observed. You've given us much to consider. It is concerning that the first transformation apparently occurred before the skies turned red. It's contrary to what one would expect. Thankfully, the information you conveyed to Lucia upon your return from the moon has already proved invaluable. As soon as reports of the calamity here in Thavnair reached the Grand Company of Eorzea and our Far Eastern allies, our leaders knew at once that the final days were indeed upon us. They began taking steps to assess the extent of the phenomenon's spread. Our agents were able to confirm that, for the time being, the skies burn only over the Bounty, including this island and Corville. Alas, that is of little comfort. Aye, all throughout Allied lands there have been reports of people transforming into hideous beasts. Already? From what little we have learned, these incidents are similar in nature to that involving the merchant Kulzal. As was the case here, the victims underwent a change prior to the heavens being set ablaze. And so, while the burning skies have yet to manifest beyond the Bounty, the transformations do not appear to be subject to any similar restriction. If anyone, anywhere, overcome by despair can turn, nowhere is safe. That's about the size of it. Speaking of which, we ought to give these creatures a name, don't you think? Here in Razatan, we've taken to calling the first to change, which tend to be the biggest, blasphemies. As fitting a name as any. To ensure clarity in future communications, we shall urge our comrades to adopt this terminology. Our leaders are taking measures to deal with the threat to the best of our abilities. Aye, each nation has assembled their own groups of elite soldiers to put down these so-called blasphemies in their spawn, as and when they appear. At the same time, they are doing all in their power to put the people's minds at ease, and prevent panic and fear from spreading. That said, brave souls with the strength and fortitude to fell these terrible fiends are not easily found. Just so, and it is for that very reason that we turn to you. Pray lend us your strength, and help us slay the blasphemies that plague our homelands. I would like to, but time is... No, you don't have to give your reply before dinner. I should also mention that each blasphemy seems to possess wildly different characteristics. What works well against one may serve you poorly against another. So, before you go rushing off to save everyone's day, have a word with the delegates. They'll tell you what to expect. Right. And with that, I do believe our friend here has a feast to attend. Spare a thought for us while you're tucking into all that fine cuisine, eh? There's the role quest unlocked. Part of me wants to jump right into them, but I also do feel I should maybe finish off the current main quest. I pray forgive Sure about her rudeness. She can be a bit boisterous at times, but it is simply her nature. Anyway, my apologies for keeping you from your hard-earned rest. You will be rejoining your companions, yes? Do you know the way to the Mayan? The bot was only 8 or so minutes late. Bots don't seem to like my channel too well. Like, I know the one on the FC Discord only notices my streams when I finish them. I've been around enough that I think I can find my way. Glad to hear you're becoming familiar with our fair city. You'll be pleased to hear that all drinks are on the house, so order whatever suits your fancy. And with that, I must return to my post. On behalf of all the Radiant host, I thank you and your friends once more for lending your strength and courage to Razatan in our time of need. We shall endeavour to fight the good fight to the end, that we might honour Ahawan's legacy and serve Master Vitra well. You have my word that your efforts will not be in vain. Thank you. Guess we can leave the city here in safe hands. Also, hello Nam. Welcome to the stream. There's everyone. I need to... Let me... get that. Just so the little orb isn't in the way. Welcome. When the Satrap asked us to entertain a party of honoured guests, I was wondering who it might be. This is a lovely surprise, to say the least. By the way, I heard all about Kalzal from your friend, Grahatia. I understand there was nothing that could be done, but I was heartened to hear he meant us no harm. I cannot thank you enough for dispatching the beasts. As the smallest token of our thanks, your food and drink tonight are Mairead's treat. Speaking of which, what shall I start you off with? Witch's water. Seeing the effect it had on the others, I could ask for some chai, could I? As you wish. Pray join your friends, and I will bring you your drink. Everyone, sorry to keep you waiting. Welcome back. Whatever did the Radiant want of you? Pray tell. Apparently blasphemies have started appearing in the other nations. Back in Eorzea and the Far East. Our allies have sent military delegates. That's news to me. Mind sharing the details?
So blasphemies now plague all the realm.
It will only get worse if what Father said is true. As it did in Amarot.
If that's our model, then shouldn't we expect the effects to grow more severe as it feeds off its own spread?
It seems so.
As if people transforming into those monstrosities wasn't bad enough. If the flora and fauna, if the land itself turned against us.
That's part of why I want to see if I can't focus on...
No one would survive.
If I can take the time to help with these first incursions, maybe we can slow it down.
Here's your order, friend.
Thank you.
May you find comfort in these dark times.
Where do we go from here? If there's one thing we've learned, fighting blindly and simply reacting to what comes will accomplish nothing. We must find a solution that addresses the fundamental cause. Before our strength is exhausted, before this crisis spirals out of control. Is there something, anything we've overlooked?
If there is an answer, Hydaelyn herself will have it. 'Twas she who bound Zodiac and forestalled the final days. Alas, we have heard naught from her since the Tower of Babel. Whether she cannot or will not speak, I can only speculate. Even the flower she gave us is no more.
In our time, we called it Elpis. You would do well to remember the name. The Watcher said something about the flower. He called it Elpis.
So advised the Watcher. But what could be the significance of that name? It is entirely unfamiliar to me.
To me as well. It meant something to the ancients, though. In our time.
Most surely. Yet I do not recall a single mention of it in the records of Anida.
Another dead end. And quite literally. It's not as if there are any ancients living we could go and ask.
Not alive as such, but not quite dead.
Bruh?
Elidibus.
He's still
I
in the
sealed
tower.
him in the White Horosite of the Crystal Tower back on the first. Contained within that reservoir of ether that maintains it, ether that is returned little by little to the sea. Naught may remain of his soul. However, if part of it lingers, we might be able to speak with him there. I know we can no longer make that journey, but you, my friend, still can.
It's something.
Yes, we can but act and hope for the best.
If nothing else, should we learn the first is safe, we'll have that much more reason to keep fighting the good fight. That said, the odds are not in our favor, to say the least. Which is why we're fortunate to have Urianger up there on the moon, working hard to make all the necessary preparations for our departure.
And why we have nothing to lose by staying the course till the last instant.
Right.
Indeed. To the last, let us all do what we can. I will consult with Master Matoya and see if she knows of a way to reach Hydaelyn from the ethereal sea.
And I will visit the nation's leaders and attempt to ascertain how far the final days have progressed elsewhere.
Keep me abreast of your findings. I can seek out and slay the worst of the immediate threats, if only to slow the spread.
Unease, terror, despair. Try as we might to suppress them, these emotions will return to harry us time and time again. But when they do, remember this. Your friends and loved ones are out there somewhere, sharing in your struggle. You are not alone.
So ends the brief respite before the next revelation. Yes, so much left for you to see. Where beginning ends, and end begins.
I cannot move my left shoulder too much without the pain. Now then, is there anything we've forgotten to mention? Are your arms and armor in good order? All seems good. In that case, it's time we each attended to our tasks. And when you arrive on the first, give my regards to Reen. Tell her I miss her. As keen as I am to get to that, though, these new blasphemies and the other nations, I want to see what I can do to steady things here before I head off. I don't know how long I'll be gone after all. Alright. Excuse me. You're the Alamigan delegate, correct? If you're ready to lend us your aid, I'll apprise you of the situation. Please do. We've received reports of a creature believed to be a blasphemy stalking the streets of Alamigo. Troops have been assigned to track and slay the beast, but there are likely to be casualties. With most of our healers posted elsewhere, we had thought to petition you for aid. Of course. Once again, we're in your debt. We shall inform Commander Aldin forthwith. My comrades in the Immortal Flames will be glad to have you watching over them. You see, as there have been no sightings of any blasphemies in our lands, we've joined our Alamigan allies in their hunt for the fiend. Trouble is, the majority of our own healers are working day and night to treat the Tempered Imperials captured at Pagelfan. For that reason, we too will be glad of your help. Aye, your presence alone will be of great help, great comfort to the troops, I'm sure. As time is of the essence, I ask that you make your way to the Alamigan quarter and report for duty. Commander Aldin has overseen the hunt, and he will explain all upon your arrival. May Ralgar grant you strength. Raban himself is leading this. If it's that serious, I suppose it really is. It really isn't something I'm too comfortable just leaving while I return to the first. Excuse me. Master Sherwood, we were told you were on your way, but this is even quicker than expected. I'll tell Commander Aldin you've arrived. One moment, please. Glad you could join us. General? I appreciate that we have a far greater crisis to worry about, but we cannot afford to ignore the situation here either. That's why I'm here. Aye. I'd like nothing more than to hear about your recent adventures, but I'm afraid such pleasantries will have to wait. As our man in Thavnair will have told you, a blasphemy is loose in Alamigo. When it first appeared, the city guard were able to get most of the bystanders to safety. And for mercy, those caught in the chaos only suffered minor injuries. But the fiend managed to escape and has not been seen since. We must find it, and soon. For as long as it remains at large, every man, woman and child is at risk. As was the case in Thavnair, the blasphemy's very existence seems to spur the creation of lesser beasts. The longer it is allowed to roam free, the more tragedy our people will suffer. Right. You know, are there any witnesses to the change itself? That might give us some clues. Aye, there were several eyewitnesses who gave the same account. A man walking through the Alamigan Quarter fell to his knees all of a sudden, and a moment later transformed into the monstrosity we now pursue. But beyond the fact he was a young Highlander, we know next to nothing about him. Even the descriptions of his appearance are too vague to help identify the lad. We've no clues as to his name or background. For all we know, he might not even have been born in Alamigo. Might have been the son of refugees come to visit. There are other possibilities we're investigating, though. That said, I doubt his circumstances are unique. Blasphemies and beasts are born when men are overcome by despair. And whatever drove him to turn likely could have done the same to another. Therefore, if we are to prevent future tragedies, it is imperative that we identify and address the underlying cause. Until we do, we'll have no choice but to deal with the afflicted the only way we know how, by granting them a quick death. For now, I would have you join the hunt and keep my men from falling prey to these creatures. Are you up to it? Of course. You have my thanks. And as chance would have it, we've just received word that a number of beasts were spotted on the outskirts of Alagana. Troops stationed there have already put them down, but were wounded in the process. First and foremost, they need medical attention. And that's where you come in. I'll meet you there. Right. I can just help them track down this original blasphemy. Hopefully things will calm down enough that they can handle the rest on their own. General? Although the soldiers were able to lead the beasts away from this village and cull a lot of them, victory did not come easily. It's times like these that our lack of healers is most sorely felt. I dare say they've yet to receive any treatment at all. See to their wounds while I survey the area for any stragglers that may have escaped. Once I've completed my patrol, I'll head to the village to gather eyewitness reports. Look for me thereafter. Right. You okay? Just give me a moment and I'll help you out. Gods be good, I feel reborn. Hold on. You're Sorin, aren't you? I can't believe it. You're the one who inspired me to join the Resistance in the first place. Now you've come to save me in my hour of need. I'll never forget this. Thank you. Thank you. Not a problem. Just give me a moment, sir. Feel any better? I saw them change. Right before my eyes. Those weren't monsters I killed, but innocent men. But it had to be done. There were others we had to protect. And thanks to you, I can continue to do just that. Once I've made my way back, I'll give a full account. The families, they'll understand. I don't imagine that's easy. Right. General said he'd be looking for witnesses. Are involved? It was good of you to come all this way. Though I never doubted for a moment that you wouldn't. Excuse me. For treating the wounds of those soldiers, you have my thanks. And theirs too, no doubt. It seems they were indeed successful in slaying all the beasts, if my search is any indication. But we must remain vigilant. I've also spoken with several people who witnessed the moment of the transformation, though the ordeal has understandably left them rather shaken. You've been through a fair few ordeals yourself, Sorin. You could say that. As for me, I've been kept busy with this and that. I like getting the hang of this wheelchair. Obviously, it has its limitations, but it gets me where I need to go. I've been working with this new organization as well, which is what brought me here. No sooner had I arrived than those locals turned. Ragnfrid, I heard you were there when it happened. What can you tell us? Ones who underwent a change. The very people we were trying to help. Perhaps I should explain from the beginning. The meeting Lys held in the royal palace marked a turning point for all Girabania. It spurred us to open a dialogue with peoples and communities we otherwise would have shunned. But there's still so many problems to be addressed, and countless souls struggling to build new lives for themselves. I decided to form a volunteer group, the Silver Griffins. Our main concern is the welfare of Alamegans who sided with the Empire, for whatever reason, and helping them find their place in society. In particular, the surviving families of the Craniolupi. You're helping former members of the Skulls now? Make no mistake, I have not forgiven him. I don't have that in me, and I doubt I ever will. But the memory of that day in the palace, of Fredola asking to be locked up again after saving us all, it stayed with me. It got me to thinking about why she and the other youths would commit such atrocities. Why they'd swear to serve the Empire. And the answer was simple. Because they'd seen what we'd seen, suffered much the same. In a hell where all were condemned, they chose to betray one brother to save another. That's how the Garleans win. Not by breaking you, but by making you break yourself. By making that choice the right one for a man at the end of his tether. Healing only begins with liberation. Some scars never will, regardless. Those who returned from foreign lands may have difficulty carving out a living here. But the ones who'd pledged allegiance to Garlemald. This is not the Alamigo we dreamed of. After 20 years of misery, I'll not see it all thrown away because we can't come to terms with the past. That's why I formed the Silver Griffins. To see that no one is cast aside. It's a cause I support, and it's what brought me here today. I've been acting as a mediator. Aye. And in the short time he's been with us, he's proven himself a natural. But despite our early successes, families of the Skulls continue to refuse our help. I think I see where this is leading. They're the ones who turned, yes? It comes as no surprise. Their kin tormented and murdered fellow Alamegans. Anyone with a conscience would feel shame and guilt, and for some, it might be too much to bear. I think I might know why they're turning us away. It's a sensitive matter, though, so let's go somewhere we won't be overheard. Right. So, what do you think the cause is? It's about one of the men who turned. I saw his memories. With the echo. I'll not pretend I understand it, but tell us what you learned. I only caught a glimpse, but that was enough. It was during the occupation. A man raising his son. Only the two of them, but they were a family. To keep his boy clothed and fed, he chose the side of the Empire. He knew what the others would say, but he did it anyway. And so he was branded a traitor. Every day his son listened to the jeering, the insults, but there was nothing he could do. When he came of age, he joined the Skulls in the hope it would make life easier for his father. He never dared to question his orders, no matter how depraved. He died in the revolution, but not before killing his own countrymen. His father wept not for the betrayer and murderer, but for the man he could have been. He blamed it all on himself, right up until the change took him. I can only pray he and his boy have finally found a peace they were denied in life. Alas, theirs is an all too familiar tale. They cannot forgive themselves, nor can they see how anyone else could. The sins of their kin weigh heavy on them. They think themselves undeserving of our compassion. If they carry on like that, they'll turn into beasts. We've got to help them before it's too late. How do we change their minds? And growing up half Garlean and Alamigo, I know how it feels to be shunned and hated. To hate myself. So long as we give ourselves and others a chance, we can change for the better. While I might not be as clever or eloquent as someone like Alphino, I know I can make a difference. I might not be quite the swordsman I used to be, but I'm still a fighter at heart. And I owe it to Abba and Ollie to make the most of this life, so long as I've got it. We Silver Griffins will give our all to see no more beasts or blasphemies ravage Garabania again. So, Commander Alden, do we have your approval to continue our work? Of course. There's no enemy more formidable than despair. I'd be a fool to refuse your help. That even a single one of our people has succumbed to this transformation is proof of our failure to protect them. Therefore, I pledge to Silver Griffins my unconditional support. Together we will prevail. Now that we have Sorin on hand to aid the troops, I believe we are ready to face any beasts we encounter. Though I fear it is only a matter of time before others appear, I ask that you lend the Silver Griffins your assistance in the meantime. Of course, leave it to me. Very good. For now, let's return to the city. Revolution being so recent. I suppose of anywhere, Alamigo's somewhere that's fertile grounds for despair. Those who harbor guilt do not do so because they are weak of heart, but because they have failed to meet the demands they make of themselves. It was the same for me when I believed that my failures had led to the Sultana's assassination. The despair and self-loathing were indescribable. I was fortunate that you and the other Scions came to my rescue, that I had friends who convinced me I was more than the sum of my worst mistakes. Now we must do the same for the people of Alamigo. We must help them to heal and find the strength to, if not forgive, then come to terms with who we were, so that we can look to who we can be, who we should aspire to be. This is precisely why the work of the Silver Griffins is so vital. Though our problems are not new, the emergence of this deadly phenomenon means we cannot afford to delay addressing them any longer. And we will be better for it, ultimately. Right. Once we've decided a course of action, you'll be the first to know. Until then, may Ralger watch over and keep you. One down. We were hoping you'd stop by. I'll show you to Commander Alden at once. How goes the hunt? You're a welcome sight as always, Sorin. Aye, and lots happened since last we spoke. We Silver Griffins have been keeping busy. That's if I and my men, but I'm afraid we've little to show for our efforts. Although we've been searching high and low for the blasphemy, we've seen neither hide nor hair of it. Unfortunately, everyone else has had better luck. We've received reports of lesser beasts throughout Girabania, and putting them down is as important as hunting the blasphemy that got away. To complicate matters, rumors have been circulating that these beasts were the Skull's kin. If all this were true of the recent incident in Alagana, we cannot have people jumping to conclusions, given what they might feel tempted to do. It has been suggested that we take these individuals into custody, for their own protection as much as the safety of others, but that would only isolate them even further, and give credence to the rumors. The recent unrest has hindered the efforts of the Silver Griffins to no end. Therefore, I ask that you aid them in their endeavours, and see if there is aught that can be done. Also, you'll be joined by another volunteer. Try not to be too surprised. I thought I felt my ears burning. Fordola? I said I don't need a keeper, but did they bloody listen? Did they bollocks? Oh, come on, don't be like that. This is what you agreed to. Besides, you never know when you might have need of a healer, and there's none better than Sorin. He's right. You've earned a measure of trust, and this shouldn't be taken to mean otherwise. How thick as thieves are we now? And there's no need for this sodden collar, aye? We all know it's not coming off anytime soon. But if this is how it is to be, then fine. As long as he keeps out of my way. I want the two of you to visit the Silver Griffin's headquarters in Alagana. Several relatives of the Crania Lupi have agreed to meet with them, and we could do with a measure of precaution. Right. If anyone so much as mentions the skulls, I'll deal with it. Understood? Let's get this over with. She's as much at risk of turning as anyone. Maybe even more so. You don't need the Echo to see the weight she's carrying. She's still not got a handle on her own Echo either. Sometimes the visions come without warning and with such force that it's all she can do to stay standing. There's no telling what might happen when she comes face to face with the family of her former comrades, so look out for her. Please. Of course. I wish there was more I could do for her myself. But we've all got our own duties, and I'll see them through to the end. So must we all. Follow Fordola's lead. We're counting on you both. But be ready to step in, even if she curses you for it. I'll do my best. Hope this doesn't go too badly. I had a feeling Raubon would send you, Sorin. As for her, if you've got any complaints, take it up with the commander. No, it's fine. Truth be told, ever since that day at the Royal Palace, I've been thinking. Stop. You don't want to say it, and I don't want to hear it. Not a matter at hand, then. We Silver Griffins have been working to support the relatives of the Craniolupi. One family has gone missing. A mother and her parents who lived together under the same roof. One of ours paid them a visit, but they were nowhere to be seen. When they went inside to check, they found the house had been torn to shreds. Thick gouges in the floor and the walls. Made by a beast's claws by the look of it. You think they've turned? Aye. That's the most likely explanation. Please, do what you must before anyone else is hurt. There's no time to waste. I'll head west, you east. Right. Be careful. Oh, we're... When it says east, it's a ways east. Any sign of normal wildlife's about? Anything out of the usual? That's not something you normally see in this area. I can't handle. Right? A little more. Wait, it dropped something. This is... Dear Mother, I hope this letter finds you well. Time is short, so I must keep this brief. Although I have never done anything to make you proud, I promise you things will be different when the war is over. Until then, take care, and know that I love you with all my heart. Is that the mother? I don't know if we're going to be going to find this family. Another one. Seems to be the same type. Did not mean to aggro that sprite. This one dropped a ring. Let's see any sign of anything else. I just hope Cordola found something. Something better than what I did. Were you able to find anything? A letter and a wedding ring. Unfortunately, that was all. Then it is as we feared. I found and killed the third. It was carrying this. That? A matching ring. I'll deliver these effects to their next of kin and arrange for a funeral, or as close to one as possible under the circumstances. There's no change in the past. We'll always carry it and the scars. But no matter who we were or what we did, we're Alamegans, then and now. The Empire was our enemy then, now it's despair. Good words and deeds will serve us best in this fight. Weapons even an old man like me can yet wield. Thanks to the two of you, the missing villagers may finally be laid to rest. 90 of our silver griffins will redouble our efforts to prevent any further tragedies. I finished checking the wares, sir. Everything's in order. Good work. Take a rest, lad. You've more than earned it. Keep this to yourselves, but Everett's younger brother was a member of the Craniolupi. He's exactly the sort of person we're trying to help. Like many of the others, he was reluctant to talk to us at first, but after we'd gained his trust, we were able to help him find work. He's taken to it well. It's good to hear. It's her! The butcher! Sir? Traitors, all of us! Kinslayers deserving of hate and death. Hate and death. Please. Cordola? Get back! Get back! No. Cordola? Stay away from her! Cordola saved your girl's life. I know, but she's... Hela, quit twiddling your phone. I don't have a choice here. It happened in an instant. That poor lad. But it had to be done, and without hesitation. Would have been much worse otherwise. You go off to Fordola and see to her wounds. I'll do what I can here. Right. Oh. Trying to upgrade your house already? Where did she go? That's what I mean now. You've only relatively recently decorated it. Then you're gonna have to do it all over again. I'm fine. Leave me be. You're obviously not. You said I don't need your help. You were the 75th entry? It's still more than a 1% chance. And people gamble on much lower odds. Fordola, I was sent here to heal. That's what I'm going to do. God, you're like a dog or a bone. Go on then. Make it quick. It'll just be a moment. The girl can't change its spots. There's no washing the blood off my hands. Nor would I, even if I could. Taking up Garlean's steel was the first choice, not the last. Like the first kill. The hardest. Every choice after that came easier and easier. Until I stopped counting. Stopped caring. You tell yourself it's right. It's for the greater good. You give the order, feel the ground tremble as the cannon fires. When the dust settles, and your own men are buried beneath the rubble. You tell yourself. Fordola? Me too. Ah! Can't give up. That man in the village saw us past. I'm the one who killed his brother. I'll be alright. Just need a moment. Can you wait with me? Of course. Take all the time you need. Everything the Skulls fought for, the sacrifices we made, the things we did. In the end, it was all for nothing. Sometimes I look back on the road I walked, the bitterness I can still taste, and I wonder if I'd grown up in another time, another place. Would I have done the same to a different people? Was it always in me to be me? All I know is everyone would have been better off if I'd never been born. But I was. I dragged others into a hell of my own making. I remember these two brothers in particular. Childhood friends of mine. The older one enlisted with me, but the younger... he would never have made it as a soldier. He was too kind. Too good. Hansford died at Specula Imperatoris. His brother's still out there somewhere. Not that I have the courage to face him after what I did. I hope he's found the life he deserves. Not all the craniolupi at the towers died that day, though. I know from one of my visions that at least one survived. Rudolph. I'm glad he made it out, but too many others didn't. Too many of us still need our help. I helped make this blasphemy, and by Rhalgr, I'll kill the bastard if it's the last thing I do. Anyway, that's enough out of me. I'll be heading back to the city proper to make my report. That's just you, do likewise. I do hope she's going to be okay. Can't imagine what a burden like that is like. Commander? Welcome back. Cordola's already given her account, and I'd like to hear yours too. Right. So, you almost turned into a beast herself. We'll have to take that into consideration before sending her into the field again. As far as the events in Algana are concerned, two of you did well. Despite the appearance of several beasts, you were able to prevent any further casualties. However, this serves to confirm that those with connections to the cranial lupi should be considered at risk of turning. Over the years, many of them have drifted away from larger settlements and have taken to living in secret. Others made their way to Ul'dah as refugees, including some individuals of interest. As such, we'll be working closely with the Immortal Flames to locate and offer support to those refugees in particular. In fact, I plan to make the journey there for an audience with the Sultana. Once my preparations are complete, perhaps you might accompany me. I'm sure she'll be glad to see you. If you would have me there. Oh, there we go. There's level 90. Here to see Commander Aldin, I take it. This way, please. Our request for an audience with the Sultana has been accepted. Before we depart, I'll share what we've learned since we last spoke. Blasphemy continues to elude us, all the while driving others to succumb to despair in turn. Even with Alamegan and Ul'dah forces searching for signs of the beast and more potential victims, we've yet to discern a pattern in the chaos. Nevertheless, if our blasphemy is like others, its behavior is likely dictated by the passions and regrets of the man it once was. Therefore, any information concerning him and the life he led may help us track it down before it strikes again. We don't want people to shun the families of the skulls any more than they already are, but the fact remains that the vast majority of the beasts have been born from them. They're the ones at greatest risk of turning, without question. Cordola concerns me too. She came close to transforming once before, so I think it might be best if we keep her out of this after all. I understand that. But I wonder as well if she's not at more risk of falling to despair if he's locked away, unable to help. I think we should let her help. I'm inclined to agree with Sorin. He was able to resist the transformation and has shown no signs of succumbing since then. If she wants to do her part, I say we let her. Only I could go in her stead. Actually, I was hoping you'd come with us to meet the Sultana. I believe she would benefit greatly from your understanding of the struggles our people face. You'd gain from the experience too. Well, she's not the sort to brandish a sword and charge into battle. You'll soon discover she's a champion of her own arena, as brave as any warrior. I doubt she'd have much to learn from the likes of me, but it would be an honor to make her acquaintance. Arnvald and I will go on ahead and wait for you in the Hostine Strip. We'll see you anon. Right. I'll be right there. Padawan. It's been a while since I've had to. Actually, I don't think it's been that long. I think Pagelfan was... Yeah, we were in Fanalan at the very end of the patches. Everyone? Master Papashan was just telling us that Nanamu, or should I say Lady Lilora, has gone on another of her jaunts about the city. Though it is not my place to question her Grace's judgment, I do wish she had consulted me before running off on her own. And perhaps I'm overthinking it, but it's unlike her to keep guests waiting. If I may say so, sir. With blasphemies appearing throughout the land, it's a dangerous time to be going for a stroll. I suspect that may be the very reason. She wishes to see for herself how the citizenry fare in these trying times. Even so, it's downright reckless. We'll find her, though. I'll see if I can have a look. No, I couldn't possibly allow such esteemed guests to... Come now. We might be here on official business, but we're old friends. As you may remember, I've a knack for tracking down errant sultanas. Some might say that knack is rather charitable. I should be glad of the assistance. I'll take a look around here. Inquisiting the locals will give me an opportunity to learn of recent goings-on in Ul'dah, too. Well then, there's no time like the present. Fear not, with me on the case, this will be over before you know it. Well, if Raban knows what he's doing, maybe I should just follow along. Commander? It's been some time since I last combed these streets for young Lilora. As a matter of fact, Papashan and I would compete to see which of us could find her first. As I recall, most of the contests ended in my favor. The trick, you see, is to look past the disguise and pay attention to the gestures and mannerisms. The tiniest movement that might give her away. Come, I'll show you how it's done. Oh, hello, Kai. I see you there. Oh. He's fond of perusing the stalls here. Don't see any sign of her in the immediate vicinity, anyway. Markets seem fairly empty. If she's not here, where could she be? What if she's been abducted? Commander? I don't think we should jump to... in one of these pots. Perhaps not. I don't think we should jump to worst case scenarios. I've never known her to be this elusive. That's odd. I've tried all of her usual haunts, so unless she's hiding inside a barrel or something equally nonsensical, she must be elsewhere. God, why did she choose now of all times to run off? What if she's been abducted or run afoul of a beast? I don't think we should jump to bad conclusions that quickly. You're right, I know, but it's hard not to worry. Where could she be? Come to think of it, something Papashan said caught my ear. He thought Nanamo went on this excursion because of the emergence of the blasphemy and the beasts. Better understand how her people are coping with the situation. If so, she'd be driven to seek out the most desperate and destitute. Her lane, then. Might I ask you to lead the way? I'll admit, my ability to track missing persons may have dulled somewhat. If you think that's best. Her lane has ever been plagued by pickpockets and the like. I'll watch your back, so go ahead and give the search for Lilira your full attention. Oh, hello, there you are. Right. No sign of anyone. While it may not be immediately obvious, conditions here have improved considerably of late. Missed the last message I sent? Oh, no, I did see it, I just didn't... My brain didn't have a comment for it. Her Grace continues to support the rebuilding efforts in Kiribania, which has led to the creation of jobs for many of the locals, both here and on the other side of Balezar's wall. I couldn't see her anywhere along there. In every society there are the haves and have-nots. Seldom is this divide more sorely felt than here in Ul'dah. Many of the young and able-bodied work for Lolorito as guards. He earns more in an afternoon than most will in a lifetime. I didn't see any sign of... Did you see anything? Wait, is that... No. Lady Lilira! Robon, whatever are you doing here? And Sorin, too. Well, I'm glad to see you both. Our meeting is not yet due to commence for several bells. What is the meaning of this? We were worried, and with good reason. These are far too dangerous times to be roaming about alone, Your Grace. Some things never change, but I assure you, I am quite capable of looking after myself, in my own city of all places. More importantly, I wish to observe firsthand how the people have been faring of late, that I might be better prepared to participate in our discussion later. But I have finished, you will be comforted to hear. Then pray allow us to escort you to more amenable surroundings. Would you care to ride on my shoulder? Certainly not. You've already attracted more than enough attention. You are a fairly recognizable face around here, General. guess that means our meeting can go on ahead. Go ahead. It is nice to see that some things don't change. I thank you all for making the journey here during these difficult times. And it is my pleasure to properly make your acquaintance. On behalf of the people of Eorzea, allow me to express my sincerest gratitude for your continued dedication to our cause. With respect, Your Grace, I'm just a soldier. Was a soldier. Still, I say, Commander Aldin would not make such a distinction, and neither will I. You yet serve your people, and have provided solace to many of Alamigo's most vulnerable. If we are to deal with this threat, we must forearm ourselves with knowledge. I understand you come bearing information regarding the blasphemy and its victims. We have indeed. Hence the need to locate families of Craniolupi members who have fled to Thanalan. There is no end to the struggles faced by Almegan refugees, and those who once pledged allegiance to the Empire are no exception. But rest assured that, irrespective of their pasts, all will be treated with an even hand. All will be afforded such aid as I am able to provide. Magnanimous as always, Your Grace. If I might be so bold, I have a question. What do you have in mind for those most at risk of undergoing the change? I believe there is but one recourse. Earnest and open dialogue. While some were born into unimaginable wealth, others suffered great hardship and oppression. The circumstances of our birth are beyond our control. Our fates subject to the whims of the gods, some would argue. I once thought myself a prisoner to my fate, a figurehead, helpless to watch on as my people starve. Powerless puppet. I wanted nothing more than to cast it all aside, to free us all, but failed for my naivety. And then was afforded a second chance for my privilege. The world is unfair, terribly so. But we have the power to push back against inequalities and injustices, if not overcome them on blessed occasions. To love our neighbour and share in life's bounties. To open our hearts and come together as one. Truer words were never spoken. But without the support of the people, such words are naught but vain platitudes. Thankfully, my recent attempts to make inroads with the monetarists have met with some success. Despite differing views on many subjects, we yet strive to find common ground. Common ground. We've been pouring all our efforts into aiding families of the Craniolupi. And while it's helped to some degree, while it seemed to help to a degree, some have still succumbed and turned. Of course, they're not the only ones in danger. Almegans everywhere, whether they sided with the Empire, fought for the Resistance, or caught in the middle. They all suffered. They all wake up in the night at times, haunted by memories of death and despair. We know what can happen if those feelings are left to fester. The legacy of Imperial occupation will not soon be forgotten. But rather than seek to forget, mayhap it is necessary to remember. To acknowledge and accept the truth of it, that they may properly mourn those they have lost. Aye, a remembrance. I propose we hold a memorial ceremony for those who died during the war. Everyone. No matter who they were or what they did. Let them be loved, let them be hated. But above all, let them be remembered. And in the remembering of the dead, in their honour and their sin, we, the living of Alamigo, may yet find a sliver of common ground. It's a noble sentiment, but bringing together people who have reason to distrust one another and risk inflaming tensions would be a recipe for disaster. Then again, we can't keep ignoring the Marad in the room and do nothing to address the situation. As long as we leave it to the individuals to decide whether or not to attend the ceremony, I think it's worth a try. Organising an event of this scale will require a great deal of effort, so I offer my full support. Once you know what's needed, come to me and we'll put the plan into action. Obviously, some will balk at the idea, which is perfectly understandable, so I'll be listening to their opinions as well. After all, we want it to be a ceremony that brings Alamegans together. And I was wondering, Your Grace, if I might ask about your approach to, well, talking to people, winning them over. As you can tell, I'm no politician, so I'd be grateful for any advice you can share with me. Why, I would be delighted to. As a matter of fact, I have a number of matters I wish to discuss with you. And on that note, I suggest you and I return to Alamigo. So our role here is done. Memorial. That calls back to mind when I first left Lenosia. My first time traveling to the Black Shroud and Fanland was to deliver the Admiral's recommendation for a memorial. Commander? I knew our involved would make a good impression. He's outdone himself. Not only has he found a new avenue in life to explore, he's taken to it with considerable aplomb. And while his proposed memorial ceremony is bound to have its detractors, I have faith that many will come around. Not all, but enough, I pray. For our part, we must stand at the ready for whatever may occur. I shall send word if there are any developments. Thank you. The leveling for some of these quests feels a little interesting. Role quests. Five, 6. Oh, yeah, because I suppose it only starts at 5. It's not like the Shadowbringers ones that start much earlier. There you are, Sorin. Commander Aldin has asked me to convey to you the following information. At present, we are looking into reports of missing relatives of the Crania Lupi. With the cooperation of the Silver Griffins, we're currently searching for any clues as to their whereabouts. Thanks to the concerted efforts of Ragnfrid and the others, the general public has been willing to cooperate with our investigation. Though many still harbour feelings of distrust for the collaborators and their kin, they've grown more receptive to our cause on the whole. Our involved's been making steady progress in preparing for the memorial ceremony. He plans to host a meeting between the various community leaders to go over finer details. In fact, he was wondering whether you could assist in delivering the invitations. If you can spare the time, you should be able to find him in the Mercantile District. Anyway, that's all for now. I have a few other matters to attend to, so if you'll excuse me, duty calls. Guess progress won't be made quickly. Let's see what I can do to help. Arenvald? Thanks for coming. It should come as no surprise that planning a memorial ceremony for a whole bloody nation would keep a man busy, but by Rhalgr, this is something else. The hardest part's been gathering information on those who died in the war, especially when it comes to the skulls in our conscripts. They're the ones we need to treat most carefully. If we don't acknowledge the crimes of our kin and all their painful truth, then we do a disservice to their victims living and dead. But if we let people paint them as monsters who did monstrous things we believe we would never do, we perpetuate a different but no less dangerous lie. As for preparing the event itself, I'll be holding a meeting with members from each of the settlements around Kiribania. I've sent invitations to most of them already, but I was hoping you'd help me with the last two. There's Miraz Nuna in the Peering Stones and Sarisha and Veranelia. I'll give you one for each. Tribe and Diananta. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they refuse, considering how their people suffered at the hands of the skulls. But I hope we can remind them that deep down, we're all just people trying to survive, to protect our loved ones. We may have driven the Empire from our lands, but as long as we hold fast to the grudges born of their attempts to divide and set us against one another, we'll never be free of their legacy of cruelty. With that in mind, I've included an account of my experiences with the Silver Griffins and the people I've met. Victims, collaborators, their friends and their family, men and women who lived through it all. Survivors. Even if they refuse to join the ceremony, at least they will know, and hopefully understand, our reasons for holding the event. Granted, I've not had much practice in writing important letters, but I think they'll get the message. You being the one to deliver them will make a world of difference, I'm sure. But take care, won't you? Leave it to me, Arenvald. I'll see what I can to convince people. He's not wrong about it being a difficult battle. Did not mean to click, but at least I didn't cancel the teleport. Oh, it has been a while since I've been here. Greetings, friend. It has been too long since last we spoke. What brings you to my village? I've been sent on behalf of Arenvald. I don't know how much you're aware of the current situation, but... So the rumors are true. I need not read this letter in full to know its contents. I understand that Ragnford's volunteers are working to support the families of those lost in the war, which few will deny is a worthy cause, to include the relatives of the Crania Lupi. The Skulls watched the Empire slay us in our thousands, and still they turned their cloaks and fought for our oppressors. And you would ask us to mourn the deaths of these curs alongside their victims? I understand your anger, but if you'd please read everything that Arenvald has to say. To dismiss it out of hand would be discourteous. Very well. Family. As Nun, my tribe is my family, and I know all too well the responsibility that brings. I would do anything to protect them. Anything. Loyalty, pride, conscience, my very soul. All are meaningless if I cannot ensure the safety of those I love. I suspect that some skulls have been faced with the self-same choice, but to see how their kin suffered, I cannot say I do not understand, though I wish that I did not. Their crimes will never be forgiven. They cannot be. But I, and any others who are willing, can offer our prayers for these tortured souls, and the men they could have been. I accept the invitation, not on behalf of the Im tribe, but as Miraz Nun, though I will put the question to my people that they may decide for themselves. I am also eager to make the acquaintance of the person who wrote this letter. He is not one to turn a blind eye to the bitter truth, painful though it is to confront. The meeting will be the perfect opportunity to take his measure. I'm sure he'll get along. If you don't mind, I have another letter to deliver. It's been some time since I've spoken with Diananta. Welcome. To what do we owe the pleasure of your visit? I bring an invitation from Arenvold of the Silver Griffins. Then it is as I suspected. There have been rumors that such a ceremony would take place. Although you have traveled far to make this invitation, I must decline. We cannot mourn the loss of the fallen if the cranial lupi are to be counted among them. Like the Kelana, they chose to aid the Garlean oppressors, killing and bleeding for those who would pillage our lands. Cowards and traitors all. And are we to assume the Kelana who died fighting for the Empire will be honoured as well? If so, that is all the more reason for us to refuse. I understand. And we're not demanding that you attend. Just that you would read what Arenvold's written. If you insist. No one was spared suffering in the occupation. Not the resistance, not the collaborators, not the families of both. No one. But so many would die in shame and ignominy, having sold their souls only to lose everything, is a tragedy and a lesson. If they are forgotten, then the lesson of their folly is forgotten. For the sake of this land we call home, I will join you in remembrance, and implore my people to do the same. In mourning may we strengthen our ties with our neighbours as well. By together facing our past, can we build a foundation for lasting peace and prosperity? It would be my honour to attend the proposed meeting, and I look forward to personally thanking your friend Arenvold for his dedication. I and my peers have much to learn from the example he has set. Thank you. That's... I should have known I wouldn't need to do much convincing. Arenvold, you did it. So, how did you fare in the fringes? He said that about me? It's rare for me to get such glowing praise. Especially from renowned leaders like Sarisha and Miraz Nun. More importantly though, he agreed to attend a meeting. And I've got you to thank for that. After all, I imagine it's hard to turn down an invitation when it's hand-delivered by the Warrior of Light himself. Actually, they were both going to refuse me. It was when they read what you wrote. That was what convinced them. Before I get ahead of myself, though, I must remember that this is only the beginning. Bringing everyone together is one thing. Coming to an agreement on an extremely divisive issue is a different kettle of fish entirely, as Her Grace was quick to point out. But as she's taught me, if our cause is just and our hearts are true, those of like mind will surely answer the call. And answer it they have. While there are bound to be differences of opinion, I'm sure there's nothing we can't overcome if we put our minds to it. To that end, I was hoping you could join us, if you've time to spare. There are still a few loose ends Ragnfried and I need to tie up beforehand, so we'll meet you in a different palace as soon as we can. Meet you in the palace as soon as we can. Just having you there will make a world of difference. Alright. Only hope for the best here. Here for the meeting, yes? So while we all agree upon the importance of the ceremony, we recognize that the inclusion of the cranial lupi will be distressing for many. I too lost family at their hands, and I would never ask others to forgive and forget. But for all their crimes, they were Alamegans, just like us. None made the decision to side with Garlemald lightly. They had a choice and they chose to betray us. Who among us has not made difficult choices for kith and kin? And do not forget that Fordola chose to stand between us and a primal. What does that have to do with it? Things seem to be as we expected. Brothers and sisters, arguing will avail us naught. The fate of Alamigo rests on my shoulders and yours, on those of every man, woman, and child that calls these lands home. To uphold our honor, to strive for prosperity, protect our loved ones, we all know the weight of these responsibilities. It was that self-same weight which drove many of our people to serve our oppressors, misguided as it was. And though they chose a different, unconscionable path, in the end we all wanted the same thing. To deliver our families from persecution, that they might live to see one more day. Because another day in shame and self-hatred was still better than none at all. The regretful dead are survived by their despair. A despair which threatens to drag us all into an abyss from where there is no escape. Know that it surely will if we welcome it into our hearts, out of disdain for those we cannot forgive. But we Alamegans are not so easily defeated. We will stand united and conquer this menace. Every Alamegan who fought and died did so in the hopes that one day we would be free. And we are free. We are free. By the blood of our fallen brothers and sisters, we are free. Free to lock away the pain and pretend it has no power over us, until it festers and takes us in our beds. And free to lay it bare and let it breathe. To acknowledge and to mourn our people at their best and their worst. The past is ours to bear, all of it, for ourselves and for future generations, so that they needn't suffer like we did. Let us make Alamigo a nation where no man is left behind, where he can make all the wrong choices and still be afforded the chance to make a right one. think I can leave this to him. I think he's definitely the makings of a hero in his own way. That went better than any of us could have hoped for. You have my gratitude for your part in the proceedings, but we both know who the real hero of the day was. We both do. This was all Arenvold's idea, and it was his words that finally won over the naysayers. Now that we have the community leaders on our side, we should have a much easier time convincing the rest of the citizenry. Of course, holding the ceremony is by no means our final objective. No matter what we say, some will refuse to attend. It is my hope, however, that it will still serve to provide a measure of closure for us all, and to ease the plight of the vulnerable and ostracized. Speaking of which, you will recall the incident with Bordola and Alagana. The young girl she saved and her mother wished to thank her personally. Considering what happened last time, though, I have reservations. It would be a valuable opportunity to present a former skull in a more positive light. On the other hand, I don't need to tell you how unpredictable she can be. And that's before taking her echo into consideration. That's a conversation for another day. Go and get some rest. You've earned it. Was there 2 or 1 more? Okay, 2 more left. Something terrible has happened. What's wrong? It's Fortola. She's escaped. What? Why? She was accompanying a squadron out on a training exercise. One moment she was there, and the next, she was gone. I didn't think much of it at the time, but she's been acting strangely ever since she went to meet that mother and child. You know, the ones who wanted to thank her for saving the girl's life. When I told Commander Aldin about it, he went charging off to Alagana to ask him if they have any idea where Fordola might be. I thought about going after him, but when I heard you were headed this way, I reckoned it'd be better to send you in my stead. Godspeed, Sorin. What happened? Commander? Arenvold? Sorin, wasn't expecting to see you here. You've heard what's happened then. Just as Fordola was beginning to earn our trust, she's given us the slip. As you may know, she wears a choker enchanted to prevent exactly that. If I were to give the order, she would be dead within moments, and she knows that. She took the risk anyway, so I have to believe she has a good reason. That's what we're looking into now. We were hoping Chlorel and young Lily here could shed some light on the matter. We'd like to ask you about your conversation with Fordola, if we may. Yes, of course. I know she's the butcher, or was at least, but it didn't seem right to go without thanking her. That's why I requested the meeting, to express my gratitude and my apologies. She was quiet at first, just stood there as we spoke, as if she weren't even listening. And then I mentioned the blasphemy, and she looked at Lily and all of a sudden clutched her own head and cried out in agony. That sounds like her resonance. The echo. Can you remember what you were thinking about at the time? A man. The one I saw in the city. What? Who? Did he have something to do with all those people panicking? I think he did. When I was waiting for you, I saw him. He was by himself. He looked poorly, so I asked if he was all right, and he said yes. He had a nice smile. He got up and started walking, but then... He was shouting and screaming. I was so frightened I didn't want to talk about it. Not even to Mum. She'd said something sooner. I'm sorry, Poppet. This is my fault for leaving you on your own. Man who was turned into a blasphemy, I'd wager. The girl saw him, which means Fordola has now seen him too. There was one other thing. When Fordola was having her... a funny turn, she said something. Charlie? No. Charlie, I think. Yes, that was it. Ring any bells? I can't say it does. If he has anything to do with the skulls, the Silver Griffin should have some information on him. We'd best have a word with Ragnfred then. You've both been very helpful. I'd also like to thank you for being so kind to Fordola. You may not have said it, but I'm sure it meant a lot to her. Hello, Minnie. Welcome to the stream. Has work been busy for you? I have a couple more things I'd like to ask, so I'll catch up with you later. Charlotte. Fordola had mentioned about one of the skulls you joined up with her. It wouldn't be... Charlotte, you say? Yes, that name came up during our recent investigations. As I recall, he served under the Viceroy during the occupation. His whereabouts is currently unknown. He had an older brother named Ansfred, one of the Craniolupi, which would give him a connection to Fordola. Is there anyone who can tell us more about him? Yes, an uncle, who we recently helped find employment here in Alagana. He's actually the one who asked us to look for Charlotte. You'll most likely find him working at the Sleeping Stones. As it happens, I was planning to bring him something to eat. I'll join you there shortly. Oh, you have to redo the questionnaire. Oh, that'd be painful. So the blasphemy is... someone directly connected to Fordola? But this isn't starting a situation where she's blaming herself for what happened. Perhaps we should have asked what he looks like. That might not have been a bad idea. Still looking, eh? That's him over there. Right. Just need to try and be tactful. I hope we're not interrupting. No, of course not. It's good to see you, Ragnfred. My word, the Bull of Alamig went a champion of the Alliance. What brings such esteemed guests to our humble quarry? At ease, my good fellow. We merely wish to ask about your nephew. Charlotte, you found him. No luck yet, then. Is there anything you can tell us? More about his childhood, perhaps? Wasn't much of one, I'm afraid. Poor boy's life was ruined long before he had any say in the matter. His parents and I swore allegiance to Garlemald to secure ourselves and our kin's citizenship. For all the good it did us here, living amongst our countrymen who treated us as pariahs. Took its toll on him and his brother, to be spat on as traitors by association. One thing led to another, and Ansfred, together with most of his friends, joined the Imperial Army. That's how it started, you know. Crania Lupi, Gaius's loyal little pups. You remember the names of these friends? Yes, he had quite the reputation growing up. There was Emmeline, Rudolph, and the angry little girl who'd grow up to become the butcher herself, Verdola. Then Charlie was part of this group too, yes? But from what we've heard, he chose not to become a soldier. He wouldn't have lasted a day in training. He knew that better than anyone, of course. Not that it helped him to feel any less guilty for turning his back on the others. He blamed himself for their deaths. For not stopping them when he had the chance. For not being strong enough to fight by their side. Maybe saved him, maybe not. But he wasn't there, and he wished he had been. And one day, he was gone. Wherever he is, I hope he's safe and well. So do we. Thank you. The information you've shared should prove useful. And for you, I brought some food. Why did you call it a day and go and enjoy it with your family? Let him have the peace for now. I'm back to Alagana. I suppose for now it's maybe best not to say anything. Even if it's the right thing to do. Despair's a dangerous thing. Particularly now. That is a nice sunset. Or is it dawn? Okay, sunset. I didn't need to look at the clock. I could have just looked at the fact that's in the west. So not only was his brother a member of the Skulls, but Charlie himself was a childhood friend of Ordola's. I'm told he refused the support of the Silver Griffins as well. He's been trying to make his own way for some time now. His brother and his friends died at Specula Imperatoris, save for Ordola. And the gods only know how he felt about her after that. Or how Ordola felt about Charlotte after seeing Lylie's memory of him, transforming into a blasphemy. Brother of a man she killed and a childhood friend besides. She thinks she's responsible for this. That's why she ran. To kill the beast. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm worried about her. Ordola is a survivor and an outcast herself. Exactly the sort of person the Silver Griffins are trying to support. You've seen for yourself the sacrifices she's willing to make. And if you can learn to feel sympathy for her, maybe others can too. I really need to get back into the... Make sure the gym becomes a habit again. I was not prepared for how sore my arms would be. I think we have enough information for the time being. Let's return to the city and plan our next move. Right. Not long, though. Seem to mostly form bad habits. Oh, 5 cards left. Oh, hopefully your drop rates will be nice for you now. I don't know how random the drops are in your case. Or whether it's not a hoping on random chance and just a grind. I've assigned a few of my soldiers to assist the Silver Griffins in investigating Charlotte's background. With luck, we'll find them quickly. And then we can prepare for what must come after. We're all but certain Charlotte's the one who transformed into a blasphemy, and so there's naught to be done but put him out of his misery. As for Vordola, I've put Managua and her troops in charge of tracking her. Once they've found her, they have my permission to lend whatever support they deem necessary. If it comes to it, I may ask you to join the search. Until such time, I ask that you take this opportunity to rest. Right. So some RNG, some are grind. So before we start that, I might go quickly to... Because we are level 90 now, so I get the feeling some better gear might be helpful before doing a level 90 instance. Using level 80 gear maybe isn't the best. Of course, I've brought my healing gear last. Okay, Radiant Gear, Disciple of Magic. Okay, so I've got the Astrologian. Get the Mail of Hearing. Okay, I can't get any accessories, but I can get some parts of the gear. That's item level 552, which is a bit better, I guess. Oh, thank goodness you're here. Commander Aldin needs to see you right away. Follow me. Just a bit crazy. No, I have no sanity left now. You might be just a little crazy. I've accepted my brain doesn't work. Keep it contained until I arrive. Do not engage if you can help it. Understood? Now is Manago. Her unit has found Vordola, or rather, she has found them. In fact, I have Vordola on the search party's link pearl. She wants a word with you. With me? Of course. Vordola? This is urgent, so be quiet and listen. The blasphemy, my friend, is right in front of us. I tracked him down, and when he spotted me, he started heading towards Specular Imperatoris. Look, Sorin. I need your help. don't have to call it out like that, Mooney. Yeah, we can combine our powers. Charlotte's not... He never wanted to hurt anyone. This thing he's become is... I can't leave him like this. I've got to stop him, whatever it takes. I'm on my way. Just wait a few minutes more. I owe you. Never thought I'd hear her say the words. Mrs. Monago, can you hear me? Got the blasphemy surround... Monago? Ah, it's on the move. Get ahead of it, but maintain distance. We need to... Fordola, what are you doing? Fordola! Fordola! There's no time to waste. They need our help. I'll get out there as quickly as I can. Don't mean I was aware of the stress I gave you during hand time when you didn't know. Oh, oops, I shouldn't have. Radiata and Allegaria are not that far from Specular Imperatoris. If we let the blasphemy slip through our fingers, it doesn't bear thinking about. And while Fordola is determined to slay it by her own hand, we can't allow our recklessness to put the lives of others in jeopardy. The time has come for action. Are you ready? Let's get out there. You do seem to have a habit, Minnie, of sometimes missing the obvious. Hold the line, for as long as you can. Commander Aldin and the Warrior Light will be here any moment. Stay strong. Doesn't even need a weapon. You've done well. Leave the rest to us. Yes, sir. Get the injured to safety. Cowards. Coward. Traitor. To them. To everyone. Alright. This is a really bad time. That's... I wish there was another way. As do I. That fighting's the only thing I'm any good at. Makes me wonder how I ended up with such a clever brother. Too clever for my own good, maybe. Just the thought of going into battle, about getting hurt. About having to hurt other people. Ah, he's a bleeding heart, our Charlotte. Sooner befriend a fly than shoot away, much less kill it. I could kill it if I wanted. I could... But you don't. There's no shame in that. Leave the soldier into us, Charlotte. We'll show the Guardians what we're capable of. Get the power and respect we deserve. And then... things will change. They will. You'll see. We found a place for ourselves. You'll find yours soon enough. Alright, that'll do. Everyone who's enlisting, meet back here tomorrow. In the end, what good did I do? I gave everything they had to give, while I hid, like a rat waiting for the storm to pass. Coward. 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 Ah! How long was... Coward. Coward. Better dead. Better forgotten. It's not your fault, Charlotte. It's not. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm the coward. The traitor. The butcher. I'll always be the butcher. Frodo? You don't get to end it. You don't get to give up. I won't let you. You have a lifetime to make amends and atone. To become something more than you were. If you die here, you are everything they say. Everything you believe. Is that what you want? He's not going anywhere. Arnvald? Arnvald, why are you here? There's nowhere else I'd rather be. I can't fight by your side. I can still cheer you on. I've seen your past, Charlotte. How you were left behind while your friends rushed into battle. It's bloody hard, isn't it? Wanting to do something so desperately, with every fibre of your being. Knowing that you should be able to. You should, but you can't. So you find another way to support them. Your way. You did that too, didn't you? You were there for them, even if it didn't feel like it. But you were, Charlotte. You were. Yeah, more fist clenching, yeah. I do like the Alamigo role quests. A friend of mine once said, not all heroes are forged into fires of battle. The history of Alamigo is written in blood. While we cannot change the past, we can change the future. And for that, we must all play our part. All of us. You're part of that future, Frodola. This is your home as well. Hansfrid, Evelyn, one day we'll be together again. Not yet. You'd never hurt anyone, Charlotte. That's not who you are. You'll be remembered as the kind soul you always were. Here it is. I'm counting on you. I've got your back. The Stormblood dungeon boss. Right. Let's go.
As one!
I can't die until I let Charlotte to rest. They'll win. I know they will. Oh. Lightning aspect of Aether. Keep away from it. Oh. Raban, do you want to... Okay, I guess they're just invulnerable to Oh. Oh, good. I mean, when he's only down at 10%, Mooney, I don't know if you can count that as soloing. Oh, I didn't realize Fordola had a... That's the wrong spell. Big deal on everyone. That looks like something I want to... Oh, it's a circle. Nope, didn't want to use Benefic.
Show them what we're made of!
I should probe. I think Raban's a better focus target for me. Ooh, phew. NPCs have so little health. That was a bad place to be. Also, no. It's not they have so little health, they have too much health. It makes it hard to heal. Big limit break. I buff Bordeaux for that. Oh, wait, this is a healing check. Crap. Wait, don't spam that.
Try this!
We did it! Thank you. I mean it. You're welcome. Strange how this is the last move for this kind of movement. I mean, I suppose you could say it's maybe because Fordola has the echo, or the resonance. That she's the only one kind of with that ethereal perception to see what little remains. I've been looking everywhere for you. Have you now? I get the feeling things are going to be okay here for a while. We put down the last remaining beast spawned by the blasphemy. It's a pity we could do naught for those who turned, but that we were able to prevent further casualties is nothing short of a miracle. It's astonishing too, looking back at Charlotte's case. Although his existence spurred others to transform, he never attacked any settlements or travelers. Even when he underwent a change in the middle of a crowded street, those who were present escaped with minor injuries at worst. I think that deep down, his compassion is what kept the raging blasphemy at bay. The only time he emerged from his hiding was to journey to the place where his brother died. Aye, it's clear he still retained some semblance of his former self. Ugh. Another victim of the Empire's terrible legacy, along with his friends and so many others. But the Craniolupi wasn't a creation of the Imperials alone. Many of those youth sought a place with them because they were denied one with us. That's why the memorial ceremony is so important. It's our chance to face our past together. To give them in death what we couldn't in life. To not deny anyone a place in memory, even if it hurts or makes us feel ashamed. You'll be attending, won't you? I haven't been ordered to, so I suppose not. In light of your leal service to Alamigo, I intend to have the conditions by which you're bound eased. Provided I'm able to obtain approval, you'll be granted a degree of freedom. At the very least, we should soon have no need for that choker. There'll be no objections from me. You've done well. If I didn't know better, I'd think you were smiling. Well, I for one couldn't be happier her efforts are being recognized. It gives me that much more motivation to continue my work with the Silver Griffins, and bring the people of Alamigo closer together. Got to do my best to keep off a certain little lordling eye. I'll let him know you said that. I think we've done enough for one day. Time we got some rest. Commander? I guess my work here is done. Allow me, as both guardian of Alamigo and as your sworn comrade, to express my thanks for coming to our aid in these desperate times. No matter what manner of disaster may befall us, your presence alone is enough to keep the flame of hope burning bright. Aye, even someone on the very precipice of despair such as Fordola can find salvation in your guiding light. Yeah, I think Sorin would be distracted by kind of the amount of praise there. I think you're giving me a little bit too much credit here. I wasn't alone here. Am I? Both Monargo and Arenvold said much the same thing. I must be getting soft in my old age. I'm just doing what I can. In any case, it's safe to say we've all benefited enormously from your sterling work here. We couldn't ask for a better healer, or a better friend. Just glad I could help. Our ambassador in Razatan will be relieved to learn of our successes here. If you happen to cross paths, give him my regards, would you? I will. I actually plan to get right back there. The other nations need help as well. I'd like to make sure there's some semblance of stability in the realm before I return to the First. Back to Sandra. Excuse me, sir. I've got news. Greetings. How goes it in Alamigo? Things seem to be going well. Eliminating blasphemies, helping organize a memorial ceremony? They've certainly kept you busy. A fine example of going above and beyond the call of duty. I'll be sure to send word of your exploits to Ul'dah. Wait till the Sultana hears about this. Her Grace will not be the only one to welcome this news. On behalf of the Grand Company of Eorzea and her allies, allow me to express my most heartfelt gratitude. More than guilt. So if I was going to just go down the list. So next is magic DPS. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I won't be able to finish it today. I won't be able to finish today, but I think time would be limiting me anyway. But I think it's probably better to start. Alamigo and Ishgard Blasphemy? Yeah. I feel definitely Alamigo, because I feel anything kind of involving Fordola is good. She's a rather compelling character. Ah, my lord Sorin, I have awaited your coming. The phenomenon wherein men turn into monsters. It pains me to say that Ishgard has not been spared. A dread blasphemy has appeared in the Holy See, and, to compound the people's horror, the beast resembles a dragon. It is imperative that it be vanquished without delay, and to that end we have begun assembling a hunting party. Given that fear and despair may turn our allies against us, we are being stringent in whom we choose for this duty. Yet, while we have confidence in the quality of our knights, the mission would greatly benefit from the presence of a battle mage, one who can stand unflinching in the face of our fell quarry. We would be hard-pressed to find an individual who fits that description better than you. Will you not lend us your strength and skill? Of course. If Ishgard needs me, I'm there. You're in your debt. Just a moment while I relay the glad tidings to command. It is settled. Upon arriving in Ishgard, please take yourself to the Etheirys Plaza. Lord Atwarel will be there to receive you. May the Fury speed your way. It's been a while since I've seen Atwarel. Saw his brother rather more recently. Atyrell? It's certainly been a while. Sorin, I have been expecting you. Words cannot well express how heartening it is to have you fighting beside us. I hardly say no. Allow me to echo that sentiment. Lord Emmerich. Greetings, my friend. Lest you wonder, Lord Atyrell and I are leading the effort to deal with the blasphemy. With your capable self in the fold, I have no doubt that we shall succeed. Without further ado, I shall brief you on the situation. It was a handful of days after the first beasts appeared in Razatan. An Elysian man was observed at the hoplon in the pillars, walking with an unsteady gait. All of a sudden he buckled over, as if in pain, and before anyone knew what was happening, he had transformed into a terrible draconic beast. At the mere sight of this, many who chanced to be present also turned, and regrettably the Temple Knights were forced to put them down. The blasphemy itself, however, took wing and fled. Profane Thavnair we have chosen to call it, after the Dragon Man of Ishgardian myth. Since that day, the beast has oft been sighted in the skies above Ishgard. It does not attack, only circles menacingly for a time, ere disappearing again. Alas, these brief visitations are enough to cause more people to turn, and for fear and panic to spread further. As part of our investigation, we have sought to identify the man who became the blasphemy, but thus far we have learned naught. We have, however, identified a common thread between those who subsequently turned. All were people of fervent faith, people such as priests and inquisitors. When the truth of our nation's history was laid bare, the legitimacy of the Church was called into question. Many Ishgardians struggled to reconcile the revelations with their beliefs, and none more so than the pious. Such men and women, we posit, would be more susceptible to despair, and therefore to transformation. We must find a way to stop it. Ishgard has only just emerged from a 1,000-year war. We cannot suffer another great tragedy, much less so soon. Of course. In order to attain a better understanding of the situation, we intend to speak with a member of the clergy. The sole individual who survived witnessing the blasphemy's birth without being turned. Clem is his name, and he is a deacon at St. Raymonaude's Cathedral. Come, let us seek him out there at once. All right. The cathedral. That's... I think the last time I was here was helping Inspector Briardian. Lord Emmerich, Lord Atyrell, and the Saviour of Ishgard besides. You do me great honour. I am Clem, and I serve as a deacon here at St. Raymonaude's Cathedral. I understand you were among those at the hoplon when the incident occurred. I must give thanks to the Fury for your merciful preservation. We now seek to prevent the blasphemy from wreaking further havoc, and would appreciate any details you can provide. Loath though we are to make you recall unpleasant memories, will you not recount to us what you witnessed that day? Very well. We are presently relocating the vault's libraries to the cathedral, in case you were unaware. We had finished delivering a batch of tomes and were on our way to bring over another. As we approached the hoplon, we noticed a young man walking unsteadily. No sooner had he come to an abrupt halt than he transformed into a draconic beast. The fiend fixed us with a menacing glare, and it was all we could do to find our wits and flee. But to my compounding horror, my brethren who were with me began turning into monstrosities as well, one after another. Excuse me? Raise the fury that you at least were spared, Deacon Clem. I cannot imagine how frightening the experience must have been. Bishop Vardino. Forgive me if I interrupt. I was informed that our stalwart protectors were present, and wish to express my gratitude. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for your service. I pray that we shall soon be free of this scourge. Indeed, if there is aught we might do to aid your efforts, you need but say it. You are most kind, Your Grace. I believe I'm unfamiliar. Your Grace, does that mean... he's the new Archbishop? That was Bishop Vardino, the head of St. Raymond and a member of the Synod. With the seat of the Archbishop vacant, he is, in effect, the highest authority in the Ishgardian Orthodox Church. This is so, yet in spite of his elevated station, he remains as kind and humble a man as any I have ever known. Like his grace, I would do all I can to help shepherd our people through this uncertain time. To that end, there is a request I would make of you, if you can spare a moment to consider it. Of course. If it is within our power, we should be glad to offer you aid. Thank you. How can we help? In the wake of the transformations, a group of clergymen fled the city in fear. Yet, though they sought refuge in the wilderness, they put themselves at the mercy of the elements and fell fiends both. Given that the cause of the transformation is not clear, I think theirs was a decidedly unwise action. I wish to set out and find them, but I am not trained in the ways of war. As such, I require those who are to accompany me into search. So that is the way of it. Suffice it to say, we will help. Do you know whither your fellows may have headed? The Western Highlands, I believe. Between Gorgagny Mills and Hemlock. There is no shortage of abandoned dwellings in the area. Very well. Time being of the essence, I propose we split up and scour separate areas. Sorin, if you could escort the good deacon to Gorgagny Mills, Lord Atwell and I will tend to Hemlock. Right. Off the Falcon's Nest. Every time I lift my arm to scratch my head, I forget that I am in pain. Certainly feels like it's been a while since I've been to the Highlands. Cold doesn't feel quite as bad as I remember. Maybe that's just been in spending so much time in Garlemald. Wait. That looks like that's an Inquisitor's uniform. You? Me? Ah, I see you found him. Lord Emmerich? Lord Attrell? Yes, and none the worse for wear, thank the Fury. My friends, forgive us if we have given cause for alarm. We come out of concern for your well-being. Though we understand why you quit the city, we fear you may have placed yourselves at greater risk by coming here. His Grace Bishop Vartanu too worries for your health and prays for your swift return. So please, will you not allow us to escort you to the Holy See? I assure you, you will be much safer there than in this wretched place. The servants of the Fury will never be safe in the city. Don't you see? This is your fault. You and your accursed revolution. The people disdain us, mock us behind our backs, and spit in our faces. And now someone is conspiring to transform us into monstrosities. Enemies of the Church, I'll wager, emboldened by your deeds. So no, I will not go back to Ishgard. I'd sooner freeze to death than suffer your pity. Wait. What? All I've ever done was in service to her. I am a good man. I do not... She cannot forsake me. No. Halone preserve. It's clean. No one give chase or anything. Sorin, we cannot allow him to harm any others. Give chase and do what you must. We will remain here and keep the others calm. All right. Where did it go? Can't have gotten too far. There it is. Will of the Archbishop? More. Sorry. Lord Emmerich, it's done. Is it done, Sorin? It is. My thanks. What happened is most regrettable, but we must be grateful that no one else came to harm. While you were gone, the Deacon was able to convince the others to return to the city. Let us escort them back at once, and then reconvene at the congregation to consider our next course of action. For our purposes, we have the use of the strategy room. Announce yourself to the guard without, and he will show you in. Right. Lords Emmerich and Atruel await you within the strategy room. Will you be joining them now? Everyone got back safe? Lest you wonder, we have taken the clergymen to St. Raymond to rest and recover. If truth be told, the thought that they may still succumb to despair in turn remains at the forefront of my mind. Yet the risk would be greater still were we to keep them at arm's length and deny them the comfort of the Church. Indeed, from the words he spoke, the Inquisitor yearned for the days of old. He and others like him can scarcely be blamed, since the truth of the nation's founding and the Archbishop's machinations were made public knowledge. The Church has been in turmoil. Though we have made great strides in separating religion and state, there has been far less progress in the reformation of the Church. For our faith has been everything to us, our purpose and our comfort. It is not an easy thing to reconcile one's beliefs with the betrayal of our spiritual leaders. Thus torn between their hearts and minds, many Ishgardians feel lost, and none more so than members of the clergy, whose faith was once unshakable. Little wonder, then, that the most dedicated and devout are like to turn. So it seems. But further investigation is needed, ere we draw a definite conclusion. With the war's end, Ishgard has set out on a new path. The choices we make now shall determine our course for the future. Come what may, we dare not squander the chance we have fought so hard to attain. Once the returned clergymen have sufficiently calmed down, I shall have the deacons speak with them, that we might gain insight into their individual plights. Good. Meanwhile, I shall take the opportunity to brief my men on recent developments. Pray take a moment's rest, my friend. You have earned it. When you are ready to continue our work, you may seek us out here. Lord Atruel, have there been any developments? Sorin, your timing could not be better. Deacon Clem has finished speaking with the rescued clergyman, and will be here shortly to share his findings. Lord Emmerich, too, is on his way. Let us wait for them. Deacon? How were things? Deacon Clem, we thank you for making the inquiries on our behalf. 'Twas no imposition in the least. As I said, I am glad to do all I can. So, it is our understanding that those who we escorted back were all close acquaintances of the Inquisitor who turned. Like him, they too had been the subject of harassment by certain quarters of the populace. Is this correct? It is, I'm afraid. And they are far from alone. Men of the cloth were once afforded respect and deference as servants of Helone, but now they are openly reviled by many. We were complicit in perpetuating terrible lies, this is true, but we too were misled. We too are victims. Yet we are regarded by some as criminals. Well do I understand the people's anger, but it saddens me to think that they would thus lash out at their fellow man. Especially when we need solidarity most of all. Though I can imagine your plight. I would not presume to fully grasp your pain. Will you tell us of the challenges you and yours have had to face since the war's end? Like all sons and daughters of Ishgard, we dreamed of peace in our lifetime. But now that it has come, we find we have little cause to rejoice. Our faith has long been the foundation of our lives, and overnight that foundation has been crippled by fractures, beyond repair for some. To learn that we had been deceived, and that we had unwittingly deceived others in turn, was devastating. We who had once been shepherds to men found ourselves lost lambs, bereft of surety and wanting for guidance. We have languished in darkness, all of us. Yet I have faith that the Church will redeem itself, that it will find a new path, and again become a beacon of hope for the people. I see. Thank you for sharing this with us. Your testimony has confirmed our suspicions. According to our allies, that which causes people to turn is none other than their despair and anguish. If it wasn't before, it is now abundantly clear why members of the clergy are among the transformed. That you did not, I believe, is due to your unwavering faith in the Church. In light of this, we would ask for your continued cooperation. Of course, anything to help my brethren. Now that we have established a cause, that leaves us with the mystery of profane Thavnair's identity, the progenitor of these troubles. Could he too have been a man of the cloth? From what I recall of his garb, I doubt it. He was dressed in the common fashion and inadequately against the cold besides. It is said that something of the individual may remain in the blasphemy, influencing its behavior. From what I saw in Alamigo, that would be true. If we can determine what instincts drive profane Thavnair, we may learn who it once was, and this knowledge, I believe, will prove vital in our efforts to stop it. Deacon Clem, we ask that you reach out to your fellow clergymen. Please do what you can to ease their anxieties. Understood. As I have ever done, I shall provide what comfort I can to those in need. Meanwhile, we must make it a priority to identify the blasphemy. To that end, I would seek out more eyewitnesses. The Hoplon is a busy place at any given time. Some ordinary citizens are bound to have been present as that tragic event unfolded. I propose we make inquiries in the pillars. If you could attend to the Hoplon, Lord Atwell and I will look into surrounding areas. Of course. Back to investigation. Hopefully it doesn't take as long to find who it is as it did in Alamigo. Didn't learn that until it was nearly too late. Excuse me, sir. I wasn't present for the incident at the Hoplon, but a young man poorly dressed for the cold, that I did see. I recall him well because an aide from St. Vandro's was searching for him. He was a patient at the infirmary. By coincidence, had the same name. So, that's already a clue. A patient at the infirmary by the name of Vandro. Is it Vandro? Which guardian names? Excuse me. The dragon that appeared at the Hoplon. Aye, I saw him with my own eyes. One moment an Ellison, the next a terrible beast. He was a heretic, I take it. I don't have time to correct him. Ishgard's seen a lot of change, but as opposed to some, change still comes slowly. Excuse me. No, I didn't see the dragon. Nor would I have wished to, frightful as it sounds. They say it wasn't a Dervanian attack, but if not, then what was it? Not much else useful, but I've got a name and we can investigate this infirmary. That's only what I found. Maybe Lord Emmerich and Lord Atterell found more out. There you are, Sorin. Did your search yield any fruit? I think it did. A patient of the Firmament's infirmary, you say? Among those with whom I spoke, one claims to have witnessed an individual fitting that description. A man walking in a stupor, who did not seem to feel the cold. If he had wandered straight out of the infirmary, it would explain his state of attire. Yes, I dare say we have found our blasphemy. To think that his name should be Vandro. You might have to enlighten me. It is the same as that of the former Heavensward commander, Sir Vandro de Rouchemont, for whom the infirmary is named. Sir Vandro, however, has retired from his station at a ripe old age some years ago. It's not like to have been him. In any case, we have a lead. I shall head to the infirmary at once. Pray wait for me in the broom. Right. Investigation this time definitely seems to be moving quicker. I think I actually would have been quicker just running on down that path I was on. So I guess we just wait to find what Lord Atterell can learn. This is Loverick, the aide who is in charge of Vandro. Have you found him? Oh, please say you have. We have not, I'm afraid, but we seek to, and hope that you could tell us more about him. Maybe ask how he came to be at the infirmary. He was found by a patrol in the Central Highlands. After being treated for his hurts, he was brought to us for convalescence. Being in the prime of his years, he had been doing well, but then... Prime of his years. By all accounts, he is no old man. It seems safe to assume it isn't Sir Vandro. Oh no, he's definitely a different person, as I told Lord Atterell. And though he gave his name as Vaindro, he seemed rather confused, and we had no means to confirm his identity. In his state, he shouldn't be wandering about on his own. Please, you must find him. The man who recently turned into a beast at the Hoplon. We regret to say it may have been Vaindro. What? No. How can this be? Is there aught else you can tell us? Things he may have said or done while in your care? While he was still unconscious, he would often ramble. Though most of it was incoherent, he mentioned the Archbishop many times. Oh, and he spoke of a bishop too. Bishop Vartano. I assumed he was a pious man, given this. I see. Thank you for your cooperation. We will continue our investigation and, should we confirm what became of Vaindro, inform you forthwith. Let us return to the congregation for now. So far, what information we have definitely seems to said what didn't seem like a member of the clergy, but it seemed like he was a man of faith. The mystery remains, but we are one step closer to identifying the man who became profane Thavnair. Indeed, though he did not at first appear to be a member of the clergy, his words betray a fervent faith. How curious that he should speak not only of the Archbishop, but Bishop Vartano specifically. Bishop Vartano is currently filling the seat of Archbishop. I can only imagine he's prominent in the church, right? Perhaps he was personally acquainted with His Grace. In light of the possibility, I believe we should speak with him directly. Agreed. I will request an audience, but His Grace has many demands upon his time. It may be a while before we are seen. But should you have other business, pray feel free to attend to them in the meantime. I will. I'll try and keep close by. I think that's where we'll finish it for tonight. Oh, I did not mean to hit the screenshot button. So yeah, that's the end of this week. So yeah, I thought I'd just be progressing with the MSQ again, but I kind of remembered that, oh yeah, the role quests exist. And just with the what happens in the role quest, with people still becoming blasphemies, I feel it makes more sense to do it while before the end of Endwalker. And I feel I feel like kind of that dinner in Razahan was kind of as good a place as possible for Sorin to kind of go, hold up, I've got other stuff that needs done. So yeah, taking down the blasphemies and trying to just slow down the spread of the final days before making that commitment to travel to the first again. But that's going to be everything for this week. I'll be back next week on Monday with more Final Fantasy XIV. I might not stream another game. I might just focus on Final Fantasy next week. Now that we've got the role quests. So it might just, yeah, it's likely to just be Sorin's Journey next week. It's probably at this rate, I'd say 2 more streams to do the rest of the role quests. Because we got like 1.5 done this time and there's 5, so yeah, if I make one of the streams a bit longer, I can probably get all of them done in 3 streams. Which means next Thursday I can get back to the MSQ. But yeah, with everything said, that's me for tonight. And me for this week. So, yeah. Thank you so much for coming along. I really hope you enjoyed. And until the next time I see you, have a good evening, have a good night, and goodbye.